There's always a way out of a devil circle. We must find the gaps to walk through.
If you say so! Suddenly, Kid's elbow grazes one of the walls. Sparks scatter in all directions. She instantly snaps her arm back, wincing in pain. Unable to see any gaps whatsoever, I hesitantly start to make my way towards the blinding wall of light. Come on! To the right a little!
There! Come on now!
We've got to go to the left a little! To the right! Slowly! From where we stand, a small gap in the wall can be seen all of a sudden. Holding my breath, I leap into it with my arm shielding my face.
2 steps on your left foot, don't forget it!
I scurry away from the blood-curdling thing as fast as I can. Looking back, I see it vanish in a puff of smoke just as quickly as it arrived. The wind instantly dies down as well, and all the dust and grime that was blowing around falls back to the floor in a flash. Everything has returned to a quiet stillness. Too quiet. And so, heading down the hallway further and further, eventually...
At last.
Kid steps towards the mighty set of doors, letting out a sigh of relief.
Beyond this door, the frozen flame.
From behind his mask, Magil's eyes let loose a cool radiance.
Okay, let's go!
Kid says eagerly, grasping the handle.
Whoa.
This cavern sprawls out to great lengths before our eyes, a forgotten world, hidden deep below ground. And with a scarlet radiance, a single small gem shimmers in the darkness. The frozen flame!
Finally, we're here.
The jewel shimmers warmly, almost as if it's responding to Kid's voice. Taking a few steps into the moist cavern, Magil whispers,
Remarkable. Intact ruins of the lost magical kingdom.
Just as I start to ask Magil what he means, a taunting laugh can be heard from high above us.
Lynx!
Kid immediately pulls out her knife and hurls it through the air with all her might. As it approaches Lynx, he easily swats it out of the way, almost too quickly for me to see.
Always the same. Such a savage little girl. Can't you give a gentleman an honest greeting?
You bastard!
Kid interrupts.
And what have we here? The notorious Shadow Walker. I wouldn't be trying anything like last time if I were you.
Beside me, I see Magil come to a stop. Lord Lynx. Viper Manor's deadly owner. The very same man who murdered Kid's sister, deceived Riddell's father, and eradicated the Acacia Dragoons.
Welcome back, kid. I see you have successfully taken the bait, gluttonous as ever.
What?
Kid says hesitantly, taking a step back. Lynx stares down at her with those frighteningly piercing eyes of his.
You see, kid, I brought you here because of the rock you carry.
Which rock?
Surely you remember. The one you received from your sister all those years ago. The priceless keepsake you carry with you dearly even now. The Chrono Trigger.
How do you know about that?
Kid's gaze returns to a scowl.
No matter. We're here for the frozen flame! You're finished, you bastard!
Ah, yes. Toss your little threats around. But remember, no matter how many times you think you have won, I have generously demonstrated how gravely you are mistaken.
And with that, Lynx unsheathes a beautiful golden saber.
Previously, I've overlooked doing away with you, letting you scurry on with your pathetic little life. However, this time, I may not be so generous.
Kid takes another step back, glaring at Lynx as he approaches.
Lynx! You murderer! I'll never forgive you for Luca! This ends here and now!
And so, Kid leaps into the air in a fit of rage, aiming a kick between Lynx's eyes.
Take this, you bastard!
However, just as she reaches him, he swiftly dodges. Kid stands there, wondering how she could have missed. Beside her, Lynx laughs, taunting her. Jumping up once again, Kid lets loose a fierce kick. Skimming the top of his nose, her kick cuts through nothing but air. In a parry attack, Lynx sends his razor-sharp golden saber through the air. But Kid's already leapt back. The two face each other, only a few feet apart.
If only you had been a bit faster, kid,
Lynx says, smiling. All of a sudden, a line of red streaks across Kid's face. Kid! Wiping off the blood, Kid angrily rushes Lynx in a flash through the air. Effortlessly dodging, Lynx drives the sword into her back as soon as she lands. Kid bends back in alarming pain. Somehow staying on her feet, she stumbles back and readies herself to charge again.
Stupid little brat!
Lynx lands an elbow onto Kid's shoulder, knocking her clear down to the ground. I feel her pain from the pit of my stomach as I start to see blood trickling from her lips.
What's wrong, little girl?
Once again, Kid tries to lash out at Lynx, but he easily kicks her, sending her back onto a pile of rubble. Lynx then looks upwards, focusing his concentration on the ceiling. As I look up, I see a number of rocks have come dislodged from the cavern, tumbling down onto her. Kid! I call out as I start to rush over to her. However, just as soon as I start to, I see Magil's already there. He streaked across the shadows, putting himself between Lynx and Kid. Saying nothing, Lynx shoots a thread of white light out of his fingertips. The thread-like substance entangles Magil, binding his feet together. He hits the ground with a thud. In a dazzling radiance, a countless number of threads fly out from Lynx's fingertips. They immobilize Magil completely, leaving only his head visible.
How does that feel, Shadow Walker? Have you felt my web start to drain your life energy yet?
Lynx says, smiling ominously. Kid, Magil, what am I going to do? Kid! She looks over towards me. With blood trickling from her mouth, she only moves a little. Kid, are you all right? She lies there motionless, wincing painfully.
Serge.
It's okay, kid. I'm here for you.
How kind. However, I think you should be more concerned with your own well-being, young man.
An icy chill runs down my spine as I hear the evil voice behind me. I stand up and turn around.
So you, whoever you are, opposing me is quite useless, as you obviously have seen.
And in a flash, Lynx grabs me by the neck. He strangles me with his long, disgusting fingers. Then, he starts to lift me up by my neck. Struggling for air, I painfully hang there, unable to tear myself free of his powerful grip.
Look, kid. Look at your pathetic little companion suffering. You can make this all stop if you want.
With blood dripping from her lips, Kid opens one of her eyes. Painfully gasping and coughing, she lifts her head up to us. She still wants to get up, but she's hurt far too badly.
Hand over the chrono trigger, kid. Little do you know, but that rock is actually a tiny condensed universe. When combined with the frozen flame, it gains the power to bend space-time, allowing its owner to reshape history. This all could have never happened if you merely wish it.
Saying this, Lynx looks towards me, expressionless.
And what about you, young man? Perhaps you know where the chrono trigger is.
He asks, tightening his grip.
What are you going to do, kid? Can you afford to let this little boy die without helping? How will it feel to have his blood on your hands?
As Lynx grasps tighter and tighter, I find myself starting to lose it. Lynx's face becomes a blur.
Serge!
Suddenly, Kid's voice snaps me back to attention.
I'm sorry, Serge! What should I do?
Don't do it! My consciousness fading.
Stop! The stone here!
Lynx looks over to Kid. His eyes light up as his hands loosen around my neck. Abandoning me, Lynx rushes over to her side.
It is, Lynx.
Kid reaches into her pocket. Lynx draws closer. Despite being drained of nearly all strength,
Here's your
Kid
precious
manages to whip her knife out, fiercely slashing at Lynx. Screaming viciously, Lynx falls back, cradling his mangled face. Blood starts to trickle down from between his fingers.
You!
Lynx staggers to his feet, keeping his right hand on the wound.
I will have such fun killing you all!
With as much power as she can muster, Kid kicks at Lynx, sweeping him off his feet. Spitting blood, Kid coughs a little, but still, a smile manages to come through her agony. Kid! I run over towards her, still feeling the burning grip on my neck. Lynx turns to Kid, staring at her with his cold, evil gaze.
Child, you shall beg for death soon enough. Every flavor of pain shall be yours. Prepare to join Luca!
Hearing this, Kid's eyes slowly open and catch sight of Lynx. A red-hot gaze burns in her eyes. Slowly, she rises to her feet. A shimmering light suddenly spurts out of the frozen flame. At the same time, a golden light bursts out of Kid's chest. Swirling around her, the light rises up, spreading outward in a glistening spiral.
What is this?
Lynx gasps. Kid's voice calls out from deep within the shower of light.
You will not win, Lynx!
She trembles, her eyes flowing with red tears. And then, a single voice can be heard. It's a deep, profound voice, the voice of undeniable honesty and truth.
Long ago, in a far-off kingdom, lived a girl. Because of her power, the kingdom had come to an end, crumbling under its own weight. Many became engulfed in the temporal vortex that was created, never to be heard from again. But not the girl. She lived on, enduring a much sadder fate. Running from her past and fearing her future, she wanted nothing more than to be swallowed up in the surging waves of the vortex of time. Hating what she'd done, refusing what she'd said or heard. To simply continue living was her curse. But the stone, it had other plans for her. Turning back the hands of her clock, scattering her memories. She was granted another chance. Since the precious stone was in her possession, she carried with her all its will and power. And so, she was born into this era, returning to reality as a mere infant.
And with that, the fragments of the shattered chrono trigger fall to the ground softly. The cavern before us slowly starts to come apart, bending inward and outwards like a tear in reality, until we are completely removed from its existence. A single girl's voice resounds in the darkness.
Please, this dark energy, make it stop!
Losing all sense of reality and presence, I become engulfed in this realm, drifting aimlessly through the ages. The world flows, time dissolves, and people live and die. I can see it all within this mysterious ocean. The origin of time, every one of life's tranquilities is here. I can see myself as a baby, crying at my mother's side, where she gives me a warm, proud grin. I can see myself as an old man, softly smiling, knowing that death will come soon. Infinite versions of myself extend like ghosts throughout this endless corridor of time. Everywhere I look, I see another life, another era. In this unfolded existence, I see countless lives and countless dreams. Resting in eternity, a kind voice calls out to me. A single song.
Kid! Kid! Can you hear my voice? Kid! Answer me, kid! Please!
Who's calling my name? Serge? Where is this?
Kid? Oh, you're here.
That song. That beautiful song. It was Lucas' favorite.
Kid softly smiles, closing her eyes. I can see she can't help but shed a few tears for this long-lost reminiscence.
You called out to me, Serge. You called my name. Thank you. You won't leave me, will you?
I'm here for you, kid.
It all makes so much sense now. I know who I am, Serge. I know what I'm here for. Let's go back now, okay? I'm ready. Ah!
Lynx has pinned Kid to the ground.
And now, you see your death!
Lynx will have to get through me if he wants to get to Kid.
Oh, will I get to put you both out of your misery at once?
Lynx raises his saber overhead, ready to plunge it into us.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
Quickly turning my head, I look in the direction of the voice.
You?
There, under a large hood, stands the old woman from before.
So, Vera, looks like Poor couldn't keep their hands out of this after all,
says Lynx, flatly.
Good to see you again, Master Lynx. Seems you've seen better days.
The old lady. She's from Poor?
The frozen flame. We will take custody of it now. It seems none of you can decide on who the rightful owner should be.
The old lady gives a small signal, and dozens of armed troops rush out from behind her, securing the cavern.
I will not forget this, Vera!
Lynx shouts, floating up into the air. Brimming with hatred, Lynx's glance turns to us.
And you will see death by my hand!
Saying this, Lynx vanishes into thin air. The soldiers untie Magil and start heading towards us. The old woman gazes down on us from under her hood.
I believe you all ought to come with us.
Looking up, I notice the armed soldiers have swarmed around us with their weapons ready. Seeing this, Magil instantly waves his hands in the air, calling out some sort of incantation.
Darkness, envelop under my command.
Suddenly, all light in the cavern is put out.
What?
It's now or never.
Quickly, Serge.
I grab onto Magil, who's holding Kid. Together, we flee the cavern, vanishing into the darkness.
Cursed mage! Nothing more than
Get after them!
Led by Magil, we make our way out of the mansion.
Find them!
Back in the forest, we see the search party's torches here and there, hunting for us. Their militant barking can be heard as they continue to get closer and closer to us. We stop behind a tree for a moment or two, catching our breath. I look down to Kid, who's taken quite a beating. Are you okay?
Yeah, mate. Fine.
We're completely surrounded.
Says Magil.
We must be on our way.
Looking around, I suddenly see torches all around us, starting to close in.
I'll take this side.
Kid suddenly lifts her head up.
Go, Serge. Save yourself. The troopers only after Magil and me. If they find you alone, they'll let you go.
What are you talking about? I can't leave you now. Not like this.
I told ya, I'll be fine, mate.
But...
Don't worry. I remember now, Serge. Who I used to be long ago.
She says, staring up into the night sky. Seeing the reflection of 100,000 stars in her eyes, I can't help but be taken in by that lonely, one-in-a-million expression of hers. Kid,
Don't worry. I'm okay. I'll see you again.
she says with a smile.
Someday, I know I'll see you again. Without a doubt.
She softly closes her eyes.
Lucas' chrono trigger was lost. We couldn't even get our hands on the frozen flame, but it's okay. It's all okay because tonight, in my heart, a shiny new treasure was born, Serge. The single most valuable, unstealable treasure in the entire world.
Saying this, Kid stares at me firmly with those eyes of hers. Those bold, straight, honest eyes.
Knowing who I am, it's bigger than all this. Bigger than Lynx, bigger than the frozen flame. And nothing can take that away. Not as long as I'm alive.
At this moment, listening to her under the starry night sky, I find myself wanting nothing more than to be here with her right now. Staring into her eyes, I only wish time could stop right at this instant.
Goodbye, Serge. Thank you.
And with that, Kid turns her back to me and disappears into the darkness. Kid!
Don't follow me! Please, don't follow me!
Unable to control my feelings, I start to rush after her. However, a shadow abruptly blocks my path. It's Magil. He slowly shakes his head, a sorrowful look in his eyes. With that, his shadowy figure draws back, dissolving into the darkness. Magil? Kid! 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 And so, the curtain closes on another tale. However, another time, after the spotlight had faded from Kid, Magil, and Riddell. In another place and another time, a similar band of adventurers had come forth, equally unsuspecting of their other selves, and life went on as they strode out into the great unknown. But that's a story for another day. For now, I shall put down my pen.
As I softly close my grandfather's diary, I hear my mother's voice call to me from downstairs.
Didn't you hear me? Your friend is here.
I turn around, already knowing who it is. My door opens quite energetically, where I see a strangely nostalgic young girl barge in.
Serge! We found some ruins of an old mansion up in northern Kitsune Forest today! Come on, let's go exploring!
Let's Start Project.